You're listening to the Pelicans Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans. Now rocking with the Pelican Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network. What's up, family? How y'all doing tonight? Pelican Post-Game Report, we in the building. Talking Pelicans is another fantastic Friday night for Pelican Talk, man, and we are in the building. All right. Anyway, good to see the family members chiming in on this edition of the Pelican Post-Game Report. Please smack upon the like button as we're going to talk a little Pelican talk here, man. And a lot is going on, as you can see the thumbnail right there. Now, the question is, and of course, big ups to GM Kev, Brian Pierce, some unique view, and the rest of the family members chiming in. Go off, who that to you? It says, Big Q, you and DC on social media pages. If not, what's the, okay. The Sports Coma at Twitter is one of them there. Go off. You can also find a lot of our shows on YouTube, the Pre-RO Media Networks channel for the Sports Coma. And I think there are links in the description section below if you want to find us on Twitter as well. So thank you for asking, friend. Appreciate y'all. Please smash up on the like button. This edition of the Pelican Post-Game Report, we got questions, man. We got questions. I'm Big Q chiming in. DC is my co-host, and we're going to bring him in here. DC, how you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm still trying to figure it out, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out what we're about to talk on the show.
Well, listen, man. The bottom line is we were talking the head story, the lead story is, why is Langdom looking for another job in the first place? Of course, several interviews, several articles, should I say, that was available a couple of days ago had Trajan Langdom, who was the new general manager of the Pelicans, turning down a general manager position.
Wait, hold on,
in
Big
Sacramento. Q. How's that?
Ain't Trajan Langdom IGM?
Yes, he is.
He turning down our position?
He's turning down the general manager position from Sacramento. He's already the general manager of the Pelicans. Now,
you bullshit.
I am not. You sent me the article.
Man, I didn't read that article, man. I thought that was fake news.
No, it's not. Because that's also the article is reinforced. NOLA.com had the source saying Langdon stand put with the Pelicans after a brief flirtation with the Sacramento Kings. The question is, you're not moving for a higher position. So what the hell is going on? We're going to lead with that. We're going to talk about that as well. And we're going to talk about our thoughts on that. And also we're going to talk about other stories such as Drew Holiday, the snub that Drew Holiday received by not getting on the all-defensive team. Not even the second defensive team Drew Holiday was snubbed for as well. And that is an absolute shame. We're going to cover that. Even Damon Lillard talked about that as being a major tragedy as well. And then we'll cover some more news. 5 questions the Pelicans must answer heading into the long off season. We'll go over that article, and then we'll give to you who we believe will be the next Pelicans coach. We're gonna tell you guys who it is, and you guys are not gonna believe it, but we're gonna tell you, and we're gonna see how it shake out. But anyway, let's start on the head article right here, and that is Trajan Langdom stand put with the Pelicans. We know that, but why is Langdom looking to leave? He just got here. Now, let's flash back before we get into this article, right, DC? We talked about the situation that occurred after the firing of Elvin Gentry, and that brief period after the Pelicans feloniously, ridiculously, stupidly fell out of the playoffs, if that's a word, Jesse. We're going to use it. Fell out of the playoffs because of poor play from an asinine coach, and then Griffin got involved. And remember what I kept saying, family, about why is Griffin all over this and not Langdom? Why don't we see Trajan Langdom?
You said that.
What's going on here? I said, why is he always, we're not even supposed to see that guy. We're not even supposed to see or hear from that guy unless under certain situations. The general manager has the team. Well, we seen it. I seen it. I seen there was an issue before anybody else was presented that, but I knew something was wrong with that. Anyway, Langdon stand put with the Pelicans. Let's get into the article. Sacramento Kings were interested in making Pelicans their general manager. This was not an upgrade in terms of moving to a higher position. It was basically a side-to-sideline move. I moved from this general manager to this general manager.
Down, BQ.
To be the general manager of Sacramento?
Yeah. Who been successful over there as general manager of Sacramento?
Not too many, bro. You're absolutely right. But he was saying that Sacramento was interested in the job, but decided not to pursue the opportunity. And reports saying that had he pursued it, he more than likely would have gotten a position. Langdon just wrapped up his first year as general manager with the Pelicans and is second in command under executive vice president of basketball operations, David Griffin, who DC did term as a liar. And he has several receipts proving that he does lie his ass off. Pelicans went 30-42 in Griffin and Langdon's first season in New Orleans. The Pelicans were in position to make a run in the postseason heading into the NBA restart. But something happened. They went 2-6 inside Disney World bubble and finished 13th place in the West, falling out of the playoff door. The NBA wanted them to make the playoffs. Everybody wanted to make playoffs except for, obvious, the Pelicans. They couldn't do nothing. They had a promising young core in place with Williamson and Ingram. They're currently on the hunt for a new head coach after parting ways with Gentry, who was at the helm for 5 disastrous seasons, except for one season he went there. The rest was just poor terribly. On Wednesday, Athletic reported that the Kings were interested in interviewing Langdon, and he was one of 6 names the outlet mentioned. The others included Tampa Bay Wolves executive vice president Gupta, Heat assistant general manager Adam Simon, Nets general manager Kelvin Booth, and Rockets assistant general manager Monty McNair, and former Hawks general manager Wes Wilcox. In August, Vlade Divac in Sacramento split because he was garbage up there. Langdon was the assistant general manager with the Nets prior to accepting the Pelicans job. The former Duke star enjoyed an accomplished professional career overseas for a decade before returning to his home country and getting involved in the front office basketball. He began in scouting the Spurs in 2011. He also previously worked together with Griffin in Cleveland, and the two will continue to work together for the foreseeable future in New Orleans. The question is posed to and I'm putting out there to the rest of the Pelican chat is, why the hell is Trajan Langdon looking for another job and another general man? It's not like he's moving up in the ranks to anything. He's moving from the general manager of this job to this other job. Why? DC, you want to throw out your comment on that?
Well, you're the level-headed guy on the show, man. And I'm gonna swing for the fences and throw a little bit of dissension into it. This isn't proven, but this just is what's running through my head in a possible scenario. Again, it's not proven. As I get more information, probably could formulate better ideas or thought processes on it. But to me, it seems to be that possibly a situation with what's going on as far as the coaching decisions or maybe a major player decision, Trajan Langdon and David Griffin were having issues on the direction of the team going forward, because this is a very important year, and what they're going to do this year, this would be to shift gears and guide you into the foreseeable future, as they talked in the article about David Griffin and him being together for the foreseeable future. But Trajan Langdon was also assistant GM in Brooklyn, but he got a lot of credit for what happened. And a lot of people talked him up. He also worked with David Griffin before. So it's like, okay, so what's going on? I'm thinking maybe they're butting heads on the head coaching decision, man. I think Griffin has his guy. I was probably anticipating somebody, and Trajan Langdon has his guy. And maybe Trajan Langdon is tired of, having a vice president all in the videos, all in the camera, like Suge Knight would say. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he getting sick of that, because it's almost like every move that the Pelicans make, if you really sit down and think about it, who got the credit? Who got the credit for the trade? who got the credit for them shutting down Zion or whatever good thing we do, it's always accredited to David Griffin. And as me and Big Q talked about on the show, Big Q was saying, why are we talking to this guy? Like he always say. And I would always say, well, maybe Trajan Langdon is the puppet master in the back pulling the strings. And I'm going to stand on that. I think a lot of these decisions are being made by him, but Griffin is actually being the mouthpiece to get out in front behind him. And I don't know, maybe dude's getting tired of that, man, and he wants to have less of a circus, because that's kind of what we're turning into with the whole Zion thing, which David Griffin and what he did, I'm not going to lie, to give him some form of credit or compliment, he did draw a lot of attention to the Pelicans, whatever tactics he was using, whether he was telling the truth or not. I've never seen the Pelicans more promoted than they ever were. I mean, we did have a number 1 draft pick in Anthony Davis before. We ain't get no damn press. Zion Williamson is special, generational talent. So was Anthony Davis. So got to give him some credit for that. But I think Langland is probably getting tired of all that, man. We did all that. We got all this hype. We ain't win but 30 games. That ain't acceptable. So the head coach, then the decision would determine how many games we win next year. And I think they butted heads on that. Enough for him to want to possibly leave.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed that, and I was saying that, where's the general manager? Why is he so silent? Why is he so, he's not in the view? And Griffin's pretty much smothered.
Well, he's moving silence like lasagna, dog.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's a pecking order to this thing, and the general manager is the one responsible for conducting and getting the players. The VP sits back and watch the guy that he gave the job to, and it's really the general manager's job to generally manage, which means assess the talent, get talent, make the draft picks, do what he got to do. David Griffin is a control freak, in my opinion. He's too hands-on, and that's why Trajan Langdon was looking to move out of here after being on a job for 1 season with the Pelicans. It couldn't be nothing else. He agreed for the money. It wasn't about the money and whatnot. And if he's the general manager of the team, he has the inside track on which coach he's going to bring in here. And if that is indeed the case, then that means that the lens needs to move from what Griffin is looking at as a head coach and then to what Langdon is looking at as a head coach. For him not to take the Sacramento position means that an understanding was reached between Griffin and Langdon for him to remain here, because they did not want to lose him. So let's see what that approach will be moving forward. And like I said, Griffin, I was tired of seeing Griffin. It wasn't right. And and Langdon was really noticeably silent in a lot of the things that was going on, including the collapse in the playoffs. You didn't hear too much from him until way later. I mean, you kept hearing from Griffin. I'm like, tell Griffin, sit down and shut the hell up. You don't have nothing to do with this. Where is Langdon, the real general manager? So, I mean, this is interesting, man. This popped up here, didn't get a lot of fanfare, but why the hell is your GM looking for another job? It's just a little inside here. Hopefully we don't have another Sean Payton and David Griffin sitting over there ego tripping and wanting to be a little control freak. Anyway, let's move on to the next story here. Damian Lillard reacts.
Before we move on, man, why you say that, bro?
What you mean, why?
You say you hope we don't have another Sean Payton in David Griffin.
Yes, I did say that.
Yeah, I say, why you say that?
Because we know that Sean Payton he has a big ego. He has a overconfidence problem, and that's the issue, that we don't need any more characters with those personality traits in the building. If you're going to hire somebody to do a job and you believe in your hiring ability, then you have to allow the man to do the job that he wants to do. The general manager acquires the talent. The general manager has the draft. He makes the draft picks. The general manager is the one that's responsible for the building of this team. And if there's any problems with it, we will confront the general manager. I would not bypass Trajan Langdon, who's the general manager, to go to David Griffin to cuss at him about the personnel decisions of this team. You go straight to the head. You know what I'm saying? It's commonsensical. But that's what I'm saying. We don't need tyrannical characteristics And people that sit at the top, man, allow these people to do their jobs. And Trajan Langdon is more than confident and more than capable of doing a good job at the general manager position. Bottom line.
Well, I agree with all that, but I was more focused on the hope part. It's pretty obvious we got a tyrannical GM in David Griffin. That's just like
I
Sean
thought that's
Payton.
where you was leading.
I was like, what you talking about hope? That's what I was talking about.
Well, I thought we established that several shows ago that,
Shit.
That's where he got. Remember what he said? That's where he got the line from.
Him and Sean Payton got the same. What we say? They got the same public relations. What was the thing we Man, I can't remember the name of the people that
You talking
that
about same
set them
thing?
up, bro.
The agency, same agency.
No. They give them their cues on what to say to the media, on what lies to tell.
Or press department or whatever. I mean, I get what you're saying. I can't find the word.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. I think it's public relations.
Yeah, PR department.
PR department. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they definitely they got the same people. But
no doubt about it, bro. I mean, you can see it. All right, moving on to the next story here. Damon Lillard reacts to the Pelicans guard Jrue Holiday's all-defensive team snub. Of course, Kevin Durant said something about this, and it's good to see some of the more recognized players in the NBA speak up for Jrue Holiday being snubbed on the all-defensive teams, both the first and second part. How does Jrue Holiday not make it to the all-defensive team and what he's done? That is absolutely insane to me that Jrue Holiday didn't do it. But Damian Lillard, who faced Jrue Holiday several playoff seasons ago, knows how tough Jrue Holiday is as a defender, as he shut him down in that Portland series when the Pelicans took it to him. He shut him down in that series. So Portland, he's stepping up for him. And New Orleans, Jrue Holiday was snubbed by NBA All-Star defensive teams. Why? Portland's Trailblazers guard Damon Lillard says he's had many battles with Holiday and thinks that he was snubbed. And on Twitter, Lillard retweeted and commented on Reddit's thoughts on Holiday exclusion for the all-defensive team. And that's right, JJ Reddit even says, when it's nearly unanimous amongst your peers that you're the best defensive guard in the league and you don't make either all defensive team, that's a snub. JJ Reddit tweeted that out on September the 8th at 8:48 p.m. The NBA released the all-defensive first and second teams on Tuesday, but the Pelican guard was noticeably absent on the list. Members of the first teams was Giannis. He was on there. Forward Anthony Davis. Guard Ben Simmons. Utah center Rudy Gobert. And Boston Celtics guard Marcus Smart. On the other hand, the 2019-20 NBA all-defensive second team consists of Kawhi Leonard, Brook Lopez, Bam Adebayo, Patrick Beverly, and Bucks guard Eric Bledsoe, that's where I would have taken Jrue and put him ahead of Marcus Smart on the first team. Bottom line, I think he's more impactful than Marcus Smart is to the Celtics, and I'm just keeping it real. Marcus, he wasn't even starting for much of the season. He was coming off the bench as opposed to Jrue Holiday was a mainstay in the starting offense. But Holiday received 18 total votes among the guards, behind Chris Dunn of the Bulls, 31, and Kyle Lowry had 23. For real? Several weeks ago, Lillard appeared on Reddit's podcast where he said that Holiday, in his opinion and experience, is the best defensive guard in the league. Dame looked back at that 2018 postseason where they matched up with the Pelicans during that time. The Blazers were the third seed, with the Pels were the sixth. Lillard explained how Holiday defended him. The Pelicans were not just able to pull off the upset, but they did it in a convincing fashion by sweeping the Blazers, and he shut him down. And so DC snubbery going on Jrue Holiday, disrespecting the guy. He should have made that all-defensive team ahead of Marcus Smart, and I say push Smart down to the second team. And then you can either say, what the hell is Eric Bledsoe doing on there? What's your thoughts? DC, are you still there? All right, DC, we can't hear you. All right, well, until DC get his stuff together, we'll keep on moving. All right, let's keep it to the next article here. 5 questions the Pelicans must answer headed into a long off season. All right, it's going to be a long offseason for the New Orleans Pelicans. Quite literally, the difficulties of playing during the pandemic have seemingly dashed any hopes of starting in the season in December, which was the league's original plan. What it voted to resume play early in the summer. Michelle Roberts, who's the director of National Basketball Players Association, predicted this week in New York's Times article that the next season won't begin until 2021. I don't think it will begin until in December, says Roberts. Players are already bracing for the possibility that it could be 4 or 5 months before they're playing in meaningful games again. And of course, Josh Hart says, laughing my off. We won't play till January or February, so we got time. What does that mean for the Pelicans? Well, it gives Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations David Griffin and General Manager Trajan Langdon and the rest of the organization plenty of time to chart a path forward. 5 crucial decisions the Pelicans leadership will have to make during an offseason of unknown length. What to do with Jrue Holiday? That's the first question. The gap between what it takes to be successful during the regular season and what it takes to make deep playoff runs has never been wider. The Bucks were on the pace to blow past the 60-win mark before the season was suspended. They led the NBA in net rating, how many points they outscored opponents by 100 possessions by a mile. The Heat stumped them in the conference semifinals 4-1. Come playoff time, versatility and players who don't possess any glaring weaknesses are king. Jrue Holiday fits the mold. He can play point guard. He can play point guard, but I don't recommend you put him there because he's very careless with the ball. He will give you at a starting role at least about 5 or 6 turnovers a game. I mean, he's not very ball responsible, Jrue Holiday. So if they think about putting him at point guard position, I would caution them not to do that. Off guard is his best spot, even though he can even play a little 3 if you remember him guarding guys like Kevin Durant when that garbage-ass Elvin Gentry had him playing the small forward position, had him lined up against a 7-footer. He did a pretty decent job. And then in some series you could see them when they played the Lakers, he had him guarding Anthony Davis. How stupid was that? I'm so glad that guy's gone. I'm just so happy that buffoon is gone. Okay, getting back to the article. I'm just saying, when I watch so much of this, I can see it come. I'm like, Jrue Holiday was matched up against, Jrue Holiday 6'5". He had him guarding a 7-foot-tall Kevin Durant. And then I remember him in series when he was guarding Anthony Davis. I'm like, what part of this, all for this moron to keep 4 guards out there, 4 undersized guards out there competing against 3, just absolute moron. Glad he's gone. Come playoff time versus Jrue Holiday fits the mold. He can play guard or shooting guard. He creates offense for himself and others. On the opposite, many of his peers consider him to be the best perimeter defender in the league. You put Jrue in any system, any coach is going to ask him to guard the best player. Kevin Durant said on JJ Reddit's podcast, the Pelicans are faced with a difficult decision. And as a choice this offseason, assuming they won't risk letting Holiday walk for noting a year down the road, extend him or trade him. Holiday is owed $26 million next season. He has a player option for $27 million in 2021 to 2022. He figures to be coveted on the market this offseason. The Nets, 76ers, and Nuggets are just a few of the teams who could use a player with his skill set as they try to compete for championships. Holiday still has plenty of game, but he's entering the 12th year. The Pelicans must decide if their timeline, which includes a 20-something-old, a 20-year-old, and a 23-year-old building blocks in Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, jobs with Holiday. Let's address that sticking point. What do you do with Jrue Holiday? With all that being said, DC, answer that.
It's similar to what we talked about off the show, man. What we do with Jrue Holiday depends on the coach. As Durant said, he can work with any system. But depending on what you want to do, there's rumors about us trading Lonzo Ball. The Knicks are possibly seriously interested. So it's a lot of things up in the air on what you do with Jrue Holiday. Basically, based on what we think, and my opinion would be, the man has been here for what? It's been almost 6 or 7 years now. Jrue has spent most of his career here. You know what you're getting. He's very consistent. He has little injury problems from time to time, but not nothing too crazy. He doesn't miss most of the major games. I love his competitive spirit. I just think he's not that number one guy. But with him here, we don't need him to be. So I say we keep him. I think you just need to either decide on making Lonzo Ball more confident and controlling the offense and having him be Drew Holiday's Rajon Rondo. If anybody, remembers, because it seems like so long ago now, because it's a totally different team, even though it was only maybe 2 years ago, 3 years possibly. Well, Rajon Rondo here, Drew Holiday was at his best. And I don't think it has anything to do with his age. Like 30 years old, you see what LeBron doing at 35. Drew ain't LeBron, but he takes damn good care of himself. Very competitive. And I think if you can just get a point guard or a playmaker that has the ball, takes the ball out of his hands more, he can still get 4 or 5 assists without it being on the ball so much. Everybody thinks Drew Holiday needs the ball to be successful. I'm sick of hearing that because we watched it in 2018 with us being very successful, and Rondo basically ran the whole damn team. And when Rondo wasn't running the team, DeMarcus Cousins had the damn ball at top of the key, thinking he a point guard. Drew Holiday played off the ball and probably averaged about 20 assists, and we got to the second round in the playoffs with that formula. And he had way more energy to do what he does and be that defensive monster that he is. So I say we keep him, formulate an offense where we have somebody else run the offense where he's not asked to do so much playmaking as he did last year. And I think a lot of that was just out of guys still trying to figure it out because everything looked freelance to me. Thanks, Alvin Gentry, for not calling no goddamn plays. So I think with a good coach, man, a good system, Brandon Ingram obviously being able to handle the ball more, maybe how DeMarcus Cousins, when he wanted to be a point guard, we could have Brandon Ingram be a little bit of a point forward. And Zion actually can do a little bit of playmaking as well. A lot of people sleep on that aspect of his game. Very terrific passer, very smart basketball IQ player, even though he's very young. So I say we keep Drew Holiday, man. Keep building on what we got. I mean, it was a weird season, and you really don't know what you have. But obviously, for us to win the championship, we're going to have to add another piece, get something great in the draft or a free agent signing or something. But I say we keep him, man. We done had him this much. Everybody loves him. He obviously loves being here. Could have up and said he wanted to leave when AD left. I don't see why everybody's so crazy to just want to get rid of this dude. And he's obviously showed you that he's in it for the long haul during a rebuild. Why you want to trade him now? Should have been trading him already. Who's going to trade him?
Well, you got the question is posed an interesting one with the money owed to him at $26 million next year. He has a player option for the 2021-22 season at $27 million. But they have to ask the question because it's based upon the direction of the team. You have two young players, 123, 120, that'll be the guys lead the team in the future, which is the Williamson and Ingram connection, which Drew Holiday does provide the glue as a solid player. I personally would not move Drew Holiday, but then to see what the direction of the team, if Trange and Langdon, and I'm going to start doing this show, I'm going to start purposely leaving out David Griffin and start just mention the general manager. I'm not going to talk about Griffin unless it's something specific to the topic that we're dealing with. But we're going to say from now on then that general manager Trange and Langdon's decision process on which way we're going to go. This is just going to purposely take his ass up out of here.
We love Trange and Langdon over here. We don't want you to go nowhere, bro.
That's right.
So we about to start.
That's right, DC.
Start addressing you.
That's right.
We got the Dookie. We got all these Duke players, man. We need to keep this fraternity and brotherhood together.
That's right. We're going to keep it going, man, because the bottom line, I'm going to purposely not talk about Griffin. We're going to push his ass up out of here and just deal with the general manager. Number 2 question of the article, what about the other backcourt spots? Lonzo Ball is eligible for an extension. Are the Pelicans willing to lock him up as a point guard of the future following such an erratic season? As Ball noted in his exit interview, the Pelicans perform was tied heavily to how he did. He got off to a rough start and was briefly benched. He regained his starting spot in December, and he has strong play over the next 3 months, coincided with the Pelicans' best stretch of basketball of the season. Then there was the bubble disaster. Ball is a brilliant playmaker in the open floor, and the work he put in overhauling his jump shot paid off handsomely. Much love them on that. He's still a poor free throw shooter, rarely gets to the rim, and half-court situation has a tendency to float through games. The The 22-year-old is one of the most polarizing players in the league. Didi Louzada's status is something else to monitor. The Brazilian wing, whom the Pelicans took with the 35th pick overall in 2019. Louzada spent last season playing professionally in Australia. It is unclear whether the Pelicans plan to bring him stateside or give him one more year of seasoning abroad. Now, Didi Louzada that's Trajan Langdom's pick, absolutely, because his forte is the international game. He's respected, and he's a young dude that knows the game of basketball. But you got to look at Louzada possibly moving over here with that cheap contract coming into this year. But let's ask the question: what about the other backcourt spots? What do you see there?
I think people are insane, Big Q, because everybody talks about Lonzo Ball like he trash or the dude garbage or something. Now, I'm not going to lie. I seen him in the bubble. I ain't like what I seen at all. The last game, he did kind of redeem himself. But I noticed Antonio Daniels brought this up and actually made me look into it. I've always compared him to Jason Kidd, right? We all know Jason Kidd came in. He was a little flashy his rookie year, had a few setbacks, went through some stuff, and then kind of reinvigorated his career as time went on. But there's another guy that can be very close to at least their career trajectory. And it's amazing that the GM of said guy is on our team as the vice president. All right, this is the last time we talk about David Griffin. I know what we said.
Hold on, DC. Hold on, DC. Hold your thought right there. We're going into our break right here, fam. When we come back,
I want to keep the mystery going until we come back.
That's right. We'll come back on the other side of the break and give it. I see Uncle Maz is in the chat, being happy that the Celtics were able to close out the Raptors 92-87 to control.
Tom, man, I ain't watched the game yet. No.
And then Denver won to extend out the series 3. So he happy on all fronts. We'll cover that next. We'll be back later on.
Remington Tax Solutions is a company that, together with their partners, provide virtual tax consultation and preparation for individuals, small business, and nonprofit. They also provide notary and a host of other business-related services for their clients. Their associates provide a systematic yet very client-centered approach to their services. They offer the industry knowledge and insight to help solve your most complex tax issues. At Remington, their currency is time, the one resource that cannot be replenished. For that reason, they utilize the simplest and most effective forms of technology to make their services faster and more efficient. No need to wait in the office until your taxes are completed. Simply upload your documents via the Taxes to Go app or via their client portal, and they'll take care of the rest. Remington Tax Solutions is a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals and participates in the IRS Annual Filing Season Program, which is a voluntary tax education program to stay abreast of the ongoing changes in tax legislation. Remington Tax Solutions has a strong connection to the communities in which they serve. It is a part of their mission to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors. So, if you're looking for a reliable, effective, and trustworthy tax preparation service, Remington Tax Solutions is the business for you. Contact Remington Tax Services at their number 682-307-4410 or simply go to remingtontax.com. That's remingtontax.com. Remington Tax Service, virtual tax preparation for the individual and small business.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needed the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to embracepetinsurance.com. That's embracepetinsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans. You're rocking with the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. Second segment, finishing up on some of the articles we covered on this one, man. Why Tranger Langdom was looking for another general manager job. Well, had a perfectly good job as the Pelicans GM. Well, guess what? He is the Pelicans GM. I will start referring to him in these broadcasts, and I will ignore David Griffin unless the article calls for me to call upon David Griffin. This is just common courtesy, man. I feel like we disrespecting the man. Oh, the slick, to be honest with you. Nobody talks about him. He's like the Invisible Man from Marvel or some damn thing. But he's in the building, man, and he's going to make some pretty good moves here. On this side of the break, family, we're going to cover who we think. And I'm going to give you some information right there to tell you why we think or who we think is going to be the Pelicans' next coach. And it's not who you think it is. Let's just tell you like that. But anyway, we're going to get through the rest of this article. We have 3 more points on this article that we're covering that comes by way of the NOLA.com. It's called 5 Questions the Pelicans Must Answer Heading into a Long Offseason. So we got through 3 of them thus far. Well, actually 3.5. DC still has to finish his commentary.
I thought you about to speedball past me, bro. I had to talk about Lonzo Ball. As y'all heard me talking about David Griffin being the GM of said player, there's actually 2 guys. And wouldn't you know, they both play for Phoenix. Lonzo Ball is a perfect comparison of watching his career to Steve Nash, as well as Jason Kidd. 2 players that didn't quite reach their primes until later in their careers. Both played for Phoenix. One of them played under David Griffin. I don't think David Griffin was there with Jason Kidd when he played for Phoenix. But the stats are like ridiculously similar for these both guys. A lot of people think about Steve Nash. You're like, DC must be crazy. Steve Nash is 2-time MVP. This is a certified Hall of Famer. Steve Nash didn't win no MVPs till he was 30 years old. He was 30. Then he won another one when he was 31, the same age, 30, that Drew Holiday is, and everybody's saying we should trade him and he don't fit the trajectory and all of this. Well, tell that to Steve Nash when he played with Amari Stoudemire, Joe Johnson, Sean Marion, all them guys were in their early 20s, and he was obviously 30. So to get off all that and shorten it up, because I go on and on with this, because I've always seen the comparisons between him and Jason Kidd. Steve Nash did not averaged double-digit points till he was 26. That's four years in the league of putting up single digits. He always did shoot about 40% from three-point line. I give him that. But single-digit points, never averaged over 5.5 assists 4 years into his career. Lonzo Ball, to me, is a very similar player with Steve Nash as well as Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd started off a little bit fast. I mean, he averaged 11 points and 7 assists, about what Lonzo did in his rookie year. Of course, he fell back that last year, and then he was pretty decent this year. These two Hall of Famers, man, great basketball minds, the skill, the talent, the vision. It obviously took them a while to adjust, or maybe the right system or the right players to be able to put it all together. So I think looking at that with Lonzo Ball, he's going into his 4th year. We only pay about, $11 million or whatever for him. Mm-hmm. Let the man play. He obviously has great chemistry with where you're trying to make a superstar of your team in Zion Williamson. Why the hell would you trade him? And you ain't paying much to keep him. Plus the potential for him to rise to the next level versus his ceiling, you're not going to get nothing better. There's no replacement for him. So I don't see why people are calling the trade Lonzo Ball. Like, it's the craziest thing to me. It's the closest thing you got to a young Jason Kidd or a young Steve Nash, which sounds crazy right now. But if you fast forward 3 or 4 years, people might be looking at me like some type of prophet.
Well, that's interesting, man. That's a really good breakdown, by the way, DC. Get them good statistics, and the age is pretty compelling, too. Jrue Holiday he's a combo guard. You know, he scores north of 15 a game, and plus he plays defense when inspired to. And, you know, his only flaw to me is every now and again he'll miss games due to injury, but he also has the propensity to turn the ball over when he handles the ball. Outside of that, I have absolutely no issues with Jrue Holiday whatsoever. Let's move on to the next
What
point.
about Lonzo Ball, though, Big Q? Because that's what I was talking about, even though I mentioned Jrue Holiday.
Well, that's why
that's
why I talked about Jrue Holiday. Let's move on to the next part right there. We're going to I'm just messing with you, bro.
You want to get rid of Lonzo?
No, I'm just messing around, man. I'm just messing with you.
Okay, all right.
I'm a ball guy. You can. I'm for Lonzo. I think Lonzo. I think a lot of his. He made a lot of great steps. By the way, he fixed that broken. Jump shot, that ugly jump shot. He fixed it and found confidence with it, and that's a big plus. Plus, I knew what he was, what kind of guy he is, and his court vision, defensive wise, and I think a lot of last season his mental lapses in offense is not being totally invested or divested in offense is because of Elvin Gentry. It's because of Elvin Gentry. Ben Gentry sits him. He wouldn't let the guy stay in the lineup and work out his errors, work out his issues. He yanked them. It was inconsistent. And I think a lot of his stalling in his development was due how Gentry was operating those lineups. So a lot of the errors I seen, not all of them, but a lot of those errors was tied to a dysfunctional offense led by Elvin Gentry that had no harmony. It was just disjointed. They were free-flowing majority of the time. You see guys come down and jack up irresponsible three-point shots without people getting in position to get an offensive rebound or a potential stick back. We just jacking the damn ball up, and it was just chaos. And I want to see what he looks like in a more organized offense, and I think he'll develop into a solid guard in my opinion. So I like Lonzo Ball. I was just messing with you. Let's move to the next topic here. Will the disappointing end fuel Zion? Zion Williamson's last game at Duke was March 31st, 2019. He had 24 points and 14 rebounds in a heartbreaking loss in the Elite Eight. And in 531 days since, Williamson's played in 24 games. Hypothetically, let's say next season starts in January. That means Williamson will have played 9 fewer games in 22 months as a pro than he did in 5 months in college. Young players, even ones as talented as Williamson, need live reps to develop because of circumstances mostly out of their control. Williamson will not get many in the very early stages of his career. This is why it's crucial for him to use the offseason to get his body as prepared to possible to withstand the grind of the NBA season. Williamson is one of the most unique athletes in league history. He has a vertical jump on par with prime Vince Carter. Despite being built like a nose tackle, the Pelicans were undeniably cautious bringing him back from the knee surgery. They worked on him, improving his flexibility, and Williamson appeared to be in great shape heading into the restart. But when he returned to the bubble, after spending nearly 2 weeks away dealing with family medical issues, then quarantine, he was noticeably heavier. The Pelicans need a fitter version of Williamson if they hope to compete for a playoff spot next season. DC, thoughts on that point?
Excellent point. He definitely needs to get fitter. I don't know what happened with him leaving, or if maybe we were being sold to PSYOP, because I remember all this hype before he left the bubble of how he was in this terrific shape, and they had the picture of people comparing him to Bane and all of that. And when I seen him on the court, I was like, damn, he looked like Zion actually gained weight. but everybody was telling me he was smaller. I was like, I don't see it. He looked smaller during the season.
It was definitely a PSYOP.
Right. So, I mean, was it a PSYOP, or did he really have some type of setback, or this some emergency?
No,
we weren't supposed to talk about it. Could have been
it was PSYOP.
injury.
It was a PSYOP mixed with Adobe Photoshop. That's what the hell it was.
So they sent him home out the bubble, and he was in the Pelicans facility running on treadmill, hoping he could drop some more weight. Well, and then they just brought him back.
Well, he might have took a beeline straight to the house and went and picked up on some stuffing and some turkey, a couple of apple pies and stuff like that.
Some donuts.
I don't know. He eating a lot better than that.
Yeah. Well, Zion only setback, only thing holding him back is him. If Zion could get to about 275, 280, we looking at something special for this year. And I'm sure he could probably drop even more weight than that. But if he could just play around that weight, I think that's about what he was at Duke, about 280, 282 or something like that. If we could get that version of him in college, because it's obvious that the guy was ready for it, man. Like, he was built for this. I don't know, maybe for the long haul, but he was out there with grown men, and he fit right in. He actually was dominating. So with an actual coach, I'm very curious to see what he could do with somebody that could draw plays and kind of have another wrinkle to what he does versus what we seen him do. Because everybody talks about Andy Davis, but remember, Andy Davis was molded under Monty Williams, not Alvin Gentry. So I would be very curious to see what a coach could do with a healthy Zion Williamson. And I think the only thing really holding him back, messing up his future trajectory, is him keeping that weight off. Not because I don't think he could play. I think he could play at 300 pounds, obviously, if he could run. But I think his knees wouldn't be able to hold up with that much weight on a 6'6" frame. He's got to get down to about 270-something.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he can get down to 250, man. I think that'd have been the ultimate.
That might be a little much that fast, you don't think?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how serious it is. We do have the best trainer in the business, and we do have a lot of time to get Zion down, because there are going to definitely be some decisions made here on what we want and how we want it. But we definitely need Zion to be down to 260-ish. I think will probably be an ideal rate. 270 is fine, but I think he'll look real good at 260. He'll be able to jump out the gym. He wouldn't have all that extra weight on him. I mean, we'll see how it shakes, man. But thank you for that one. Number 4 out of the 2 we have listed, what will New Orleans do at center? Last season, the Pelicans went 24-27 when Derek Favors played, and 6-15 when he was unavailable. That is a noticeable difference. They were wafer thin behind him, and that's really a pun you can give to Jackson Hayes. The 8th overall pick in last summer's draft still needs time to develop before he's ready for a starting role. And, of course, Jahlil Okafor was a sieve defensively. When motivated to play, and they gave him minutes, Jahlil Okafor looked really good. Once again, this was a decision based upon lineup. And when you have guys that actually feel like they're going to play, they step up. You know, some guys would sit weeks on end waiting for an opportunity to play. Some guys wouldn't play for over a week or over 10 games. It was just ridiculous how Gentry had these stupid rotations going. Favors is about to become a restricted free agent, so how will the Pelicans feel to hold that center? They could bring back Favors on a short-term deal. They could also look to pair Williamson next to a big man who can knock down threes. The issue is the most of those targets include Marc Gasol. Sergio Ibaka, I really like that one. I like the Sergio Ibaka thing. I'm going to just keep it real with you, man. Serge is interesting. Aaron Baines all might be out of the Pelicans' price range. The other part of the equation is to consider how much do the Pelicans anticipate playing Williamson at the 5 moving forward. He only logged 8% of his minutes there as a rookie, according to the Basketball Reference. And as the NBA continues to get smaller, it's not hard to see him playing more at center. I would caution against that. DC, what's your take on this article, on this item of the article?
I'm still a little sore on this topic because I know I don't talk about it a lot, but I've always thought, why in the hell did we cut Christian Wood? He doesn't help our defense. No, he doesn't. But we want somebody that can expand with range.
Christian Wood.
Why the hell did we let go of Christian Wood?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Great question on that one.
I was so excited in the summer league about Christian Wood and Zion and Hayes and all those guys playing together. I think if we still had him and we had Hayes and we got Derek Favors, I think that would be enough to maybe pick all of this up, because Hayes gives you an in between both of them, and Christian Wood is somebody when you want to play Zion and kind of, I guess, a small ballish lineup or a scoring lineup, you could run that. It'd have been very intriguing to see, man, because there ain't a lot out there. Serge Ibaka is probably the best thing out there. I mean, you have Andre Drummond, but I ain't paying him all that money. And he's good at what he does, which is rebounding and interior defense. But again, everybody's going small. They're going very athletic. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more depressing it seems. And I'm really curious to see what the Pelicans are going to do at center. But I'm wondering if we're going to consider just the whole transition of going not completely small, but the idea of playing a lot of minutes with Zion at center. And maybe we get a more productive power forward. Maybe there's somebody at power forward we can find to plug and play. Or you run Brandon Ingram there, and we got another big wing to where you could take something like what Houston was trying to do, but actually maximize it and be way more efficient and wise in doing it, instead of having a bunch of guys that are all under like 6'8". Or 6'7". So I'm wondering if we can go that direction, because if you're looking at free agency, man, there ain't really a lot out there. I mean, some of these guys are going to command some money. You know, Mason Plumlee is probably a good guy you could pick up. He's not that old. You get you another veteran, but, you know, they gave him 3 years for $41 million. I'm not sure the Pelicans want to do that. Yeah, he's not really that much of an upgrade over Derek Favors, so you kind of stuck with what you got, in my opinion. I guess we could hope Derek Favors signs a shorter contract. I'm not looking forward to giving him $18 million a year for what we got, but he was a very integral piece to our defense, and you can see how productive we were versus how productive we weren't when he wasn't on the court, and when he wasn't on the court, and when he was on the court. So I say you keep Derek Favors, man. It'd be interesting to see, maybe, can you get Christian Wood back? Because people seem to, I don't know why he keep floating around. He's been scoring points for years. Hopefully we could get Christian Wood back or something on the bench and draft somebody, man. It's all up in the air with center, Big Q.
I mean, there's not many options you can go. Either way, if you're looking for a pricier big that can really hit the 3-point shot and kind of spread the floor. Sergio Ibaka, I don't know if he leaves Toronto. I mean, he found a home up there. And plus, he might
gonna get at least $20 million a year, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Do you want to spend that? I think you can get more of a discount with Derek Favors being here. I think Derek had a real difficult year last year. His mother passed away. He was playing underneath that. He was also playing. He had several injuries that some were reported and wasn't reported that he was dealing with at the time. I think him coming back healthier and another year with the team under a new contract would be favorable. But I like that move. Also think Jackson Hayes needs to gain weight. He needs to really you need to start developing him to become the center of the future, as he's a guy that can run the floor and shot block and clean up. And he'll have to develop.
He's been working on the shot too, Big Q.
Right, and that's what I was about to say, is that he needs to definitely, he does that, and I think he'll be fine. But he's somebody that was one of the 3 first-round draft picks the Pelicans picked up that assisted in the rebuild of the new-look Pelicans along with NAW. Those 3 guys are foretold to be very serious impact players into the future on this young Pelican club. So we have to add that into it. But I would definitely like the Favors, because the slim pickings outside of Derek Favors and everybody else you have to pay for that would fit, that would be ideal, would cost a lot of money. I do like the Christian Wood option. I think Christian Wood is fantastic. I like his ferocity. He can run the floor. He can play either the 5 or the 4 from you, and I like what his energy off the bench would be big too. He did okay for Detroit. I would definitely like Christian Wood to return. So that's not a bad move either. I like that move. As opposed to going after Jahlil Okafor, which is probably nobody's going to probably go for that. But there we go. Let's move it to the next time. Let's go to number 5, man. Nothing against Jahlil. I think Jahlil would look good, but I don't think
the league is passing him up, though.
That's right. I don't think Jahlil Okafor is in the plans for the Pelicans, to be honest with you. In number 5, the question, this is the final question of this particular article, which is an interesting one. Will Darius Miller be back? That's the thing that DC he approached this topic some shows ago and ultimately batted it down like a Matumbo block, because nobody won't hear about Darius Miller. I'm sorry. But the Pelicans are not expected to have oodles of cap space. They will almost certainly offer Brandon Ingram the max contract or something close to it. Once that deal is complete, they could have the mid-level exemption of 9.2 of last season to offer, but not nothing else. The one way they could create more room is parting ways with Miller, the 31-year-old. He has about $7 million, but it's not guaranteed. Miller did not play all of last year. He tore that Achilles, remember, before the season began. And he's a 38.2% career three-point shooter. If he's back, he could be a weapon off the bench. But then again, if you get Didi Lozada to come over, you might not need Darius Miller's, and it's $7 million you can use to put that towards somebody else. So here you go, DC. You've been asking this question for a while now. Now you have an opportunity to answer. Will Darius Miller be back?
Well, thank you. You got his contract pulled up? Because this is going to determine my answer. I'm looking for it. I wasn't able to find it before. I wasn't expecting to get this question about Darius Miller, so doing some last minute looking. But that'll determine my answer, man. Are we sure that money, the $7 million from this year, isn't guaranteed? Because if the whole thing on me saying we keep him, which I talked about before, hinged upon him already having that money. From what I'm reading, if we get rid of Darius Miller, it carries a dead cap value of $7,250,000. So if that's true and there's not an exemption for them to get out of that, I don't think the Pelicans cut him, because it doesn't make any sense to cut him. If that's true, because you can get production from Darius Miller. And I think there's still space for Didi Lozada and him, as Didi Lozada plays 2 positions. He can play small forward and shooting guard. I don't think he can play point guard at all. But I don't. Darius Miller done been here since we drafted him, and he's kind of improved. He's improved enough to get $7 million, and he was starting to really become a sniper from the 3-point line. He had decent defense. I wouldn't call it great, but he was hyped as a 3-and-D guy when we drafted him. He's not really a bad player. I just think we didn't have a lot of talent when we had him, and it would be real interesting to see how Darius Miller would look now with the talent and the team we have now. So if that $7 million, if we on the hook for that, because he had a $14 million contract, and okay, so only $7 million is guaranteed. So yeah, Darius Miller gone, bro. I said all that shit gone.
I'll wait for the shoe to drop.
I read the contract, man. I was looking for the contract while I'm talking, and I seen only $7 million of it is guaranteed. He tore his Achilles. Yeah, he out of here, y'all. Didi Lozada is filling right in to take his spot. And when they drafted Didi, I guess this was the whole plan to begin with, because that's gonna free up $7 million, and then you got another $8 million freed up with Etwan Moore. Y'all know he gone. I know Zion like him, but we ain't signing him back for $8 million.
He gone, man. That was an Elvin Gentry player 100% of the way. And L's gone. Nobody protect him. Undersized Etwan Moore is gone as well. So no doubt about that. DC, thank you for going the long way around to get rid of Darius Miller. I appreciate that.
I was really stating how I felt, man, because I know what you said about the contract, but I had to see it with my own eyes. I couldn't believe it. Not another Pelican faithful, man. I like to hang on to the guys that we had for a while, man. Have some semblance of what we used to have. Plus, I mean, we sucked with Darius Miller. I mean, I wanted him to get at least one winning season under his belt, man.
Well, listen.
He going to go somewhere else. If that guy is recovered from his Achilles, y'all going to remember Darius Miller.
I doubt it.
He going to go somewhere. He going to go somewhere else and light it up from the line, bro. I think he can. As an off-the-bench three-point shooter, you don't think he can do that?
Well, listen, bro. My thing is I'm not really concerned about Darius Miller. I'm done with Darius Miller. I mean, to keep it real with you, Darius Miller was drafted by whom? Dale Demps. All right, and Demps is gone, and he can take his buddy with him. All right, now let's move on to the remaining portion, the last article of the show. Here we're going to talk about coaching. Now over the last several shows, we've talked about coaching candidates. We went over a long laundry list of players, coaches, from college coaches to pro coaches to our favorites like Mark Jackson. We know about Mark Jackson, but to keep it real with you, we've been doing a little research, and we found out that even though we like Mark Jackson to be the coach, and a guy like that, I don't think it might not shape out for that. But one particular coach is popping up, man, underneath the scenes, and I think this guy might be the coach. Now, I'm going to share him with y'all. And Brian Pearson, good to see you. Teal, my dog Teal in the building. Who that to you as well, good to see you. And the rest of the family members, please hit the like button, and thank y'all for joining us late as we talk Pelicans late after getting off of the sports coma a little earlier. But Brian asked the question, who was being the new coach of the Pelicans? Well, this is my take, and I think DC might have shared it with you. I think the coach is, and this guy has unbelievable ties to the current general manager, Trajan Langdon. From his time with the Brooklyn Nets, he is a very under-the-radar coach that has had experience overseas in a pro game. No matter where he goes, there's winning that occurs. He was in the G League. I'm going to tell you this guy's name. I'm going to just give a few of his accolades right here, and then I'm going to tell you his name. Okay, with the 35th pick in the 2019 draft, the Pelicans did take Didi Lozada. DC alluded to him, a Brazilian wing who at the time of his selection was still a teenager. Lozada needed to develop before he was thrown into the NBA fire, so he was signed with the Sydney Kings of the Australian National Basketball League in what is commonly referred to as a draft and stash maneuver. Lozada's first season as the Pelicans stash, he played under a certain coach who I'm going to reveal his name after I finish reading the article, who before the coaching of one of New Orleans draft picks worked closely with one of the team's key decision makers. Before he took over in Sydney, this coach worked with the Pelicans general manager Langdon in 2019. They both helped him run the Brooklyn Nets G League affiliate, the Long Island Nets. In 2018-2019, the Long Island team went 34-16 and lost to Rio Grande in the G League Finals. This coach earned the G League Coach of the Year honors, while Langdom was named the G League Executive of the Year. This coach is widely considered a modern approach coach, and Sydney Kings owner Paul Smith called him a cutting-edge coach with a focus on player development. Shortly after his hiring and appearance on the Basketball Immersion podcast, this coach elaborated on what it means, the modern means to him. He says, I think coaches have always been symbolically important. I think that the extent to which coaches are identified, oftentimes they are most identifiable. They have the longest life with a program. For those reasons, they get held up with more than they should. They bear more responsibility and get more credit and get more blame, and can sometimes slip into the role that if you thought of as if they were supposed to play. I think that more and more as an industry, we're distancing ourselves from that. That's a good thing. It's hard to be an actor and a teacher and a mentor and a good colleague. This coach got his start in the NBA thanks to one of the most forward-thinking executives in recent memory, Mr. Sam Hinkie. Now, this coach and the man responsible for the process in Philly developed a relationship while this coach was an assistant at Sam Houston State, and Hinkie was working in the Rockets front office. Hinkie brought in this coach with him to Philly when the Sixers hired him to run the team in 2013, and this coach credits Hinkie and former 76ers coach Brett Brown as significant influences in his coaching style. Now, quote, the two of them shared a really obsessive focus on always keeping an eye on what's important. They never lost sight of the big picture. Brett was incredible at purposefully texting, spending time having meals, and having guys up to his office to watch film, working with guys pregame on the floor. He showed me what being a relationship-driven coach really looked like. You see that to this day with the guys that he's had on, some of them who've been with him for a while. They've obviously trying to assemble a championship-level team. There was a ton of learning from Brett, and I'm still learning watching his teams play. Griffin, the Pelicans executive VP, said in August that he's looking for a head coach who will have a shared vision with ownership in the front office. He says, I think the approach to the whole thing is to find the exact right fit. It's difficult to find the right voice with the right group of people that have a shared vision. I will tell you that hiring a coach is the hardest thing we can do from a front office perspective. It impacts every single part of the organization and has the biggest impact every day on your players and culture you're trying to build. So it's a very big job, and it's a difficult job. So finding the right person is going to be very, very thorough, mindful process. Is a part of everyone. This coach here is someone who we willingly would be on board with, collaborating heavily with the Pelicans, biggest decision makers, and he might be a dark horse, but it's a name worth monitoring nonetheless. The name of the coach that I've been reading this article in reference to, this guy reminds me so much of Eric Spoelstra and how he breaks the game down. It's amazing. The name of this coach is Will Weaver. Most people like, who? Will Weaver. Listen, that's like you. That's not Mark Jackson. That's not. But this guy, listen, General Manager Langdon pulled the power play, and he wants his own guy. He won. He had a great success in the G League. And Tom, when he was up in the Brooklyn Nets office, they have a relationship. And a little rumorville going on is that if Langdon would have took the job in Sacramento, DC, he could have took Will Weaver to make him his coach. Maybe that was a power play. So what do you think about Will Weaver there?
I think that's exactly what was going to happen. And once David Griffin heard that phone call from Trajan Lang, it was, all right, you win. He didn't want to risk it, but I believe this is the guy, man. I mean, it's too many things that add up. Where you smell smoke, that's fire. You got the thing with Sacramento, that's one. Him and Trajan Langdon have a long history. Looks like some of it even goes back to them working together with the Nets and being successful with their summer league team. You also have Didi Louzada, who he's been coaching up, knows what he does. And remember, Didi Louzada, I'm not sure how good in English he speaks. So you already got a coach that knows how to communicate with him. Then you have somebody who's also been to two different organizations that wasn't winning organizations. When he got there, when he left, they both was in the playoffs, and they're still in the playoffs now. I don't care if it wasn't all him. he had a hand in it. He knows what success looks like. He knows what it'll take to get you to the next level. Even went over to the Sydney Kings, who what is the NBL, where he's coaching that now, and he done got them to the finals. His first year as the coach, got them to the finals. Now, keep in mind, this team has been in the finals probably like 15 times in their existence, but they ain't been in the finals in 10 years. His first year that he got them. So this guy is obviously a winner. Trajan Langdon is a winner. I think he's been making a lot of good decisions, and a lot of the success and stuff we have, I think we can credit him for that. Not saying David Griffin hasn't had a hand in some things, and he did hire Trajan Langdon. But I think this decision right now to hire a coach, and then what this guy is and what he does, everybody talks about how cutting edge he is, how he's modern, how he'll make an offense or design an offense around the pieces that he has. He's not going to come in here with a certain style and it's like, okay, we're doing this. So Will Weaver will come in here, look at our strengths and weaknesses, and basically mold the team and to run it with what we have. Similar to, like you said, Eric Spoelstra or Brad Stevenson would be another guy.
That's good comparisons right there. This guy here, man, I'm telling you, I was doing some research on him, man, and he's a winner, man. And they keep, like you use the term modern and cutting edge. The guy knows how to relate to the players, man. He knows the schematics of the game. And he's basically, if you want to use a apparel reference, he's a tailor. He's a fine tailor. He can take any guy to come in and take the fabric and build the suit perfectly to whatever frame of the person that's coming in that's getting the garments made. So, this guy is a really good call. Langdon has a really good, successful history with this guy. And to throw this little back and giblet at you, there's an article. You can go on the NOLA.com site, not NOLA, the NBA Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans.com website, right? Go there, and there's an article that was written called 5 Things to Know About General Manager Trajan Langdon that give you a little information, 5 paragraphs about Langdon. In this article, it was written by Jim Etchenhofer, May 20th of 2019. So it was written over a year ago. What's interesting about this article is not what is said about Trajan Langdon. It's the fact that the picture that they used to show you who Langdon is a picture of him with standing next to Will Weaver. And I'm like, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, you're looking for a coach, and it's, instead of having a picture, because there's several dozen pictures that you could have found of Trajan Langdon by himself. It's a picture of him and Will Weaver of May of 2019. I was like, man, that's absolutely wild. But the article makes no mention of Will Weaver. But they got the picture at the top. So I was like, man, come on, man. But anyway, that might be a little home, and maybe so, maybe not. But listen, Will Weaver is a serious candidate because of Trajan Langdon. The fact that he was considering a GM job in Sacramento, then came back, means he came to an agreement, wink, wink, with VP Griffin about powers of this team. And if he picks his own coach, he's going to interview the rest of those guys, the Mark Jacksons and the top people, because he has time to do that. But the favorite, it's got to be this Will Weaver guy, man. And I'm telling you, this guy's going to get an opportunity. If not with the Pelicans, he's going to get an opportunity in the NBA somewhere. His name is floating right up under the unknowns because we don't know, but this dude is making his bones. Go ahead, DC.
He was the NBA G League Coach of the Year, with Brooklyn over there. So you want to keep in mind, and I think that trophy might be from that summer league. Him and Trajan Langdon with that G League team.
Yeah, it's a glass basketball, on top. So I think that might be the G League crown or something like that. I think that's what it is. Right.
They won because they won their conference final, but they didn't win the league in the G League, but they won the game before that to get to the championship. So that's probably what that trophy was. And I think this would be probably one of the better moves we can make. If you're not gonna go with someone who's proven, which my only thing about people who's proven is the age, like you said, and relating to guys. And obviously everywhere this dude's been, so he knows how to relate to players and get what he's trying to tell them and for them to understand based on that generational gap. So outside of Mark Jackson, man, this is probably one of the better choices you can make. You got Mark Jackson, you got Billy Donovan out there, who I think is also a very good coach. And I'm really perplexed on how OKC would let him go. I mean, before the season started, y'all wasn't even a playoff team. So that's kind of crazy that he's looking for a job. But
his contract was up. You talking about Donovan?
Yeah, but they say they're not gonna sign him back though. Like,
he doesn't want to go back.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go back. I mean, he's looking at his options, and I'm not mad at him for that because he could find a better position. If Billy Donovan leaves OKC, he represents a really interesting coach too, because you got to look at it. He would be a guy that you would look at and say, you know what? I would love to go to the Pelicans. I got something. I can work with Ingram, who's a superstar. I got, he's an all-star this year. You got a superstar like Zion Williamson come out, and I could put my fingerprints on this team and make them. He provides a really interesting throw-in into the process. Like I'm saying, man, this offseason, looking for coaches, there is a multiple palette of different style coaches, whatever you want. This free agent coaching period is spectacular, man. I mean, it's absolutely spectacular. How many different guys that you got out there. And for people who want to know how old Will Weaver is, he's just 34 years of age, according to what we have here.
Wait, hold up, Big Q. Will Weaver 34?
34, according to NBA.com.
Yeah, we need to hire Will Weaver, man. He a winner, bro. The man winning. He 34 and he got gray hair. He got gray hair already, Big Q.
He look like a nigga. I know.
He's stressed out about winning, bro.
Yeah, he's 34 according to what we're looking at right here from NBA.com.
He's 34. How old is Brad Stevens?
He looks old too. I don't think Brad Stevens is that old. Hold on, I can look that up.
Brad Stevens ain't 34?
Let me see how old Brad Stevens is. 43. He's 43.
Okay, I'm about to say, man, next week we're gonna have coaches coming straight out of college and coaching. Huh?
Well, Billy Donovan, man, I like Billy.
No,
Donovan.
I mean, like he gonna graduate from a university and then coach an NBA team.
Donovan's 55, by the way.
Yeah, I know Billy Donovan he fits the age requirements for what we would think would be a coach. 34 is pretty young, though, man.
Yeah. That's pretty young, man, and we'll see how it suits. But man, to be honest with you, that's somebody you could throw in there. You can also throw the Billy Donovan thing in there too, because he didn't want to be there, and I think he's looking at his interests is elsewhere.
But do you think we have more talent than the Oklahoma City Thunder? I would think if he was leaving, maybe he has an idea he could possibly get that Philly job, or maybe the Nets job. Because
it's interesting.
Oh no! Steve Nash already signed with the Nets.
No,
that would have been a connection with KD. But what other job do they have? Maybe he's thinking he can get the Rockets job.
That's what
I don't know.
My thing is
he has a history with Westbrook too. Maybe they're talking.
He turned down 2 years. They offered him a 2-year extension. He turned it down. And my thing is that, there are other opportunities he's looking at. That's why he turned down the OKC job. He's looking at other potential markets that's open, that he's looking, whether that's Chicago, whether that's Houston, whether that's the Philly job with Tyronn Lue is the favorite there. I mean, there are some interesting positions that's open that he might look at. And, of course, New Orleans is attractive for a guy. He has collegiate experience, and he's a winner. He's another basketball savant that has a lot of interest to him too. So I mean, it's just a lot. You have a really good crop of coaches you're looking at this year.
I think it's the Houston job, man. That's the one that makes the most sense. If not Philly, he has history with Russell Westbrook, who won an MVP with him. And then you got James Harden over there, and he's looking at that travesty of what they're trying to do with the small ball crap. He possibly could be a guy in there and salvage those pieces they have. All they really need is a center. I actually like Covington running a power forward with them, but maybe they need a center to make all that work. PJ Tucker come off the bench. But anyway, Billy Donovan, he could be talking with Russell Westbrook, man, and being a look to go over there, because I don't see Chicago or Sacramento or any of those teams being interesting at all, unless he's going to go for the Mike Thibodeau thing and want to be the GM and the coach, which I don't know why people keep doing that, because I never see that shit work. But coaches still seem to want to have all of that power. So he's either power tripping, or I think he's going to a team that's already a contender. I just don't see him making a move from the Thunder to the Pelicans. To me, that's almost like a lateral move.
Yeah, you make a point on that, man. We'll see, man. Like I said, it's a lot to be determined in the whole sphere of things of where these guys are going to go. It's really difficult to kind of predict what movements they're going to make, because they might have a few more jobs that open up. You got the Indiana Pacers job that came over and we didn't see that. Nate McMillan firing occurring.
Forgot about them.
So I mean, there could be other. Houston's job is definitely going to come open. Milwaukee's going to hold on to Coach Bud. But like I've said, real interesting movements this year, man, on the coaching front. But I thought we'd share that and throw that with the family members about, that's dealing with too much was going on with the situation pertaining to the Pelicans and their coaches. Will Weaver's a name that we're throwing in there for the family members so they can understand, hey, guess what? Q and them talked about that, man. They made mention of Will Weaver. And the reason why we're kind of telling you about this, we want the Mark Jacksons, but I'm telling you, that guy, Langdom, is going to pick a coach that he has success with, that he can trust in, and he's basically putting his job on the line by the coach that he's picking. Now, do you think that Langdom, if he screws up, do you think he has enough time to be able to get another head coach in there to rectify the situation? I say no.
Dale Demp's got two coaches. Big Q.
But Dale Demps spoiled it for everybody else behind him. He spoiled it for everybody. And Dale Demps was acting as the vice president of basketball operations and the general manager, at the time. So this is different, man. And listen, when you attach yourself to Elvin Gentry, that mess became a part of your dynasty. That's why I was telling them to get rid of the dude. Get rid of him. But anyway, that'll do it for the show, man. We appreciate y'all joining us for an extended edition of Pelican Talk, man, for another Pelican Post-Game Report Friday. So hit the like button, hit the notification button, subscribe if you aren't a subscriber, and feel free to share the show's links and all of your social media for the Pelican Post-Game Report. So I'm Big Q with DC.
I'm DC. And
he's DC. I'm Big Q.
Yeah.
And I thank y'all for joining us at the Pelican Post-Game Report. So we'll see y'all later next Friday on the Pelican Post-Game Report. Y'all be safe out there. Peace to you, and we'll see you later.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network.
The Kleins family has been getting people to go nuts for old nuts since 1995. As legends have it, a number of the Kleins friends who heard the idea said you can go nuts trying to name a store like that. In the excitement, the Kleins thought their friends said old nuts instead of go nuts and proceeded to throw caution to the wind. Old Nuts has over 2,000 items, bulk and wholesale prices of a whole lot of your favorite fruits, nuts, and confections, a selection of gift baskets for any budget, any occasion, and provides one of the best and impressively rated shopping experiences on the web. Fact is, between their selection, service, speed, or their online presence and the virtual mirror retail experience, they have developed an enviable client base that's comprised of personal and professional customers who count on their remarkable range of gift baskets. Think of gift basket, think about Old Nuts. Check them out, oldnuts.com. Check the link in the description section below.